All right, guys, we are talking about roots, estimating them, and word problems. So before we were doing perfect roots gave us whole numbers every single time. This time they're going to be giving us decimals, and we're going to have to round them. So that's why we're calling estimating them, because we are rounding them. So the first thing we're going to do is do a quick rounding review. Also, this is number 5 in your notebook, number 5. So a quick rounding review, you're going to find the place that they're asking for and underline it. So what are the different places? So if I have 0.123, then 1 is going to be our tenths place. The 2 is going to be our hundredths place. And the 3 will be our thousandths place. So all of those are important. We should know what our tenths place is, we should know what our hundredths place is, we should know what our thousandths place is. So you find the place that they're looking for. You're going to look at its digit next door, so its neighbor. And if it's 4 or less, you let it rest. If it's 5 or more, you raise the score. So 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, it just stays the same. We don't do anything. If it's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, we're going to raise the score up 1. So here we go. Let's do some practice. So it says round 3.769 to the nearest tenths. So I underline the tenths place. So that's my 7. Its neighbor is a 6. That is going to tell me to raise because it's 5 or more. So instead of 3.7, it is 3.8. Same thing with the next one. Round 5.325, so I'm going to underline my tenths place, look to my neighbor. My neighbor is a 2, my 2 is 4 or less, therefore it rests, so 5.3 gets to stay. We're going to do our hundredths place as well, so it says round 0.75623 to the nearest hundredths. Our hundredths place is the second spot, so I look to its neighbor. It's a 6. 5 or more, you raise the score. So instead of 0.75, it's 0.76. Same thing with the last one, 1.334. The hundredths place is right here, the second 3. I look to its neighbor, which is a 4. It tells me to rest, so it stays as 1.33. Remember that you can go back and pause this video to do whatever you need to do so that you're not rushing through it because you want to have all of the notes down. So pause as you need. So that is rounding. We're going to go over estimating roots. So we're going to have square roots and cube roots. Remember, square roots, to put in our calculator, we hit second and then x squared. Second and then x squared. So the square root of 147, remember to tell the difference between a square root and a cube root. The cube root has a little 3. So the difference between a square root and a cube root is that square doesn't have the 3, cube root does have the 3. So I'm going to hit second x squared 147. Go ahead and put that in your calculator right now. And I'm going to tell everybody the same thing. You want to write the 4 digits after the decimal point. So 12 decimal point 1, 2, 4, 3. And it says we're rounding to the nearest tenths. So my tenths place is this 1. I look to its neighbor of a 2. The 2 tells me to rest. So I have 12.1 rounded to the nearest tenth. I'm going to do the same thing with 738. So second x squared 738. I get 27.1661. I'm also rounding to the tenths place. The tenths place is this 1. I look to its neighbor. A 6 is 5 or more, therefore I raise the score. So instead of 27.1, it's 27.2. I'm going to do the same thing, but with a cube root. So if you don't remember how to do a cube root, it's 3 second and then caret. And then you type in your number. So 3 second caret, it's 38. So we get 3.3619. We're rounding to the tenths place. Again, underline the tenths place. Look to its neighbor, which is a 6. Since it's a 6, we're going to raise the score. So 3.4. And then you would do the same thing with this cubed root of 1370. So 1370, after you type in 3-second caret, you get 11.1064. My smartboard is wonky, so that's why it's doing that. The tens place is this one. Its neighbor is a 0. Guess what? It's gonna rest. So 11.1. And sorry for that squeaking. Abu, the custodian, is trying to get the scuff marks off. All right, so we're rounding to the nearest hundredths. It's very similar. We're just gonna do only one of each of these. So the square root, again, is second x squared, so type in 17.8. We get 4.2190. Remember, you take 4 decimal places after. It says to round to the hundredths, so the hundredths is 2 places to the right. Its neighbor is a 9. 9 means we raise the score. So instead of 4.21, it's 4.22. So go ahead and you can do the 59.4, but we're gonna skip to a cubed root. So the cubed root, remember 3-second caret, 5.4, and we get 1.7544. Again, we're rounding to the hundredths place, so we underline the hundredths place, looks to its neighbor. It's a 4, therefore it stays, so 1.75. The biggest thing that I'm going to ask you to do is to make sure that your decimal points are actual decimal points. I don't do a really good job as making sure, so just make sure your decimal points are nice and big. So that is estimating. You just put them into your calculator and then you round. The last thing we're going to talk about is word problems. So the best thing about word problems is that you're looking for the words specifically to a square root or cube root. So if it's square root, they're going to say square. If it's cube root, they're going to say cube or cubic. So a new restaurant has ordered 121 tables for its outdoor patio. If the manager arranges the tables in a square formation, how many will be in each row? So the key word here is square. That tells me that I'm going to do a square root. And then the number is 121. So that's what goes under the radical, the square root. Remember, it's second x squared, 121. And you get, put it in your calculator, second x squared, 121. You get 11. So 11 tables, don't forget your unit. 11 tables would be in each row. So you need to just look for the word square or cube, figure out which one you're doing, put it in your calculator, and then put your unit. So a cube has a volume of 512 cubic centimeters. So I know I'm gonna do the cubed root. My number is 512, so I need to do the cubed root of 512. So 3-second caret, 512. So 3-second caret, 512. Put that in your calculator, and you get 8. And my unit would be centimeters. So 8 centimeters is how long the length of one side is. So that is roots. Remember, estimating roots, you just put them in your calculator. They're not going to be perfect. You're going to get a lot of decimals, which is great. You just take it to 4 places after the decimal. If it's the tens place, you look at the first place and then to its neighbor. If it's the hundredths place, you look at the second place and look at its neighbor. And then when you're doing word problems, you just look for the word square or cube. Square tells you to do a square root. Cube tells you to do a cube root. Once you have done all of your notes, go ahead and show the sub, and they will give you your practice paper. All right, guys, that is it. You are done. Gotta learn how to shut this off. No idea.